Hello there. I'm back again, just ready to go live for Talk to the Entities on all of the social media platforms, including Talk to the Entities YouTube channel, Talk to the Entities Facebook page, and Talk to the Entities Instagram. This is Dr. Khushboo Shah from India. And it's such a pleasure and a privilege and an honor to be here talking about talking to entities, my journey with Talk to the Entities. Um, so let me actually begin way back. So my journey with entities probably began when I was born. Okay, my journey with Talk to the Entities began much later, much later in my late 20s. Um, so if you are one of them out there who's always been aware of entities, the fact that you're watching this um, is probably a good sign that you've always been aware of entities. So even in my case, I know I was always aware of entities. I knew it. Like growing up, um, I was always scared. I knew as a baby I probably didn't have a point of view, but as I grew up, because of lack of education in the spirit world, like you don't get educated in spirit consciousness anywhere, and I grew up in a culture where it's such a mix of everything, right? So yes, there is a belief in the spirit world. However, growing up in the city, and in the kind of place I grew up in, there was also a lot of ghosts don't exist. Like if you were one of them who saw ghosts or were aware of ghosts, you were also branded as crazy. So it was a mix and a confusion of a lot of things as I was growing up. Um, and plus, having watched a lot of movies and other things that pretty much got me to a place where I resisted my awareness of entities for so long and with such um, with such a barrier that by my early 20s I pretty much couldn't sleep alone in any room whatsoever. I pretty much slept in my parents' room till I was in my early 20s. But it wasn't just that. I grew deeply like anxious and scared most of the times. I don't think I could really relax in most places that I went to. And and growing up in a country like India, as much as you love it, it's also dense, filled with a lot of people and filled with a lot of entities, because we are an entity. I mean, we positive, I would say, in one way, but also quite unconscious and superstitious in one way. So growing up in a culture in a place like this, by my early 20s, I think I was anxious, couldn't relax. And by the time I found access consciousness, um, um, there was so much fear, so much resistance. And it was also starting to show up in my body, right? Like, so I had a lot of symptoms of resisting my entity awareness, and not outwardly knowing that it was because of resistance of entity awareness, right? I thought something was wrong with me. Like I literally thought something was wrong with me. I grew up thinking I must be wrong. Like how am I so scared? How is it that I have all these problems and nobody else seems to have them? So I grew up hiding a lot of what I was aware of, because you couldn't really show it and neither could you really deal with it. So I started hiding a lot of these things that I was aware of. And this may be relevant to you all as well out there. So I started hiding a whole bunch of my entity awareness and what I was aware of. I started resisting it. I put a lot of energy into not being aware of this, of entities and ghosts. And it basically then became a problem. And by the time I found access, so the first time that anybody outwardly spoke about entities in a way where I didn't get scared was actually my first access class, foundation class. And hold on, let me go back to my bars class. So the first class that you do in Access is Access Bars. And well, entities was always in my world. Okay. So I, there was a lot of things going on. And I remember learning the first tool of Access Consciousness, one of the first tools, which is this is just an interesting point of view. And I remember after my bars class, till then, there were actually nights when I would have sleep paralysis. And for those of you who know what sleep paralysis is out there, I literally felt that something's on me while I'm sleeping and I am in my sleep, but I can't really get up. And it feels like really heavy and shit scary when you don't know what's going on. And so I had those bouts for a very long time. And I remember having it again after my first bars class. And then it was so fresh in my head and I was so scared, but I still remember in my half sleep, half this, I noticed that energy again. And I just started saying, it's just an interesting point of view. It's just an interesting point of view. It's just an interesting point of view. And first it was like, it's just an interesting point of view. It's just an interesting point of view. But I kept repeating it till I relaxed, till I started relaxing, till I started relaxing, till I started relaxing. And then at some point within 10 minutes of saying that, that whole energy shifted. So after that, I didn't really have sleep paralysis. I had other things, but I remember just using that interesting point of view, just shifted that bit. And I knew something big had shifted in my world. So, and that's when it started seeping in that like this was my first seed that was planted. Like, wait, hold on. Your point of view does create your reality. And my point of view was creating the way the spirit world was showing up and my awareness therefore was showing up in my life. And up till that point it was drama and painful and a lot of resistance. So this was the first time that I started realizing, hold on, okay, there must be something different. And but I still resisted it. I still didn't go for my entity class. Then I remember going for my foundation class and the whole walk-ins, and that was the first time where there was an actual discussion about entities, and in a way that wasn't scary, in a way where I wasn't made wrong, and in a way where I didn't have to protect myself with a lot of things, and there was no drama. It was just a few clearings, relaxing into it, and just becoming. And first time, I think I started turning my attention to the possibility that it's okay to be aware of entities and it's not wrong, like you're not crazy. So that was like the second time, and that seed that was planted, that your point of view creates your reality with the spirit world, started sort of germinating a little bit. But I remember after my foundation class and after the whole entities bit, that's the big class that you do after bars and access, that I started turning my attention towards the world of entities. And I started realizing that a lot of the symptoms, a lot of the allergies and skin things and other things that were showing up, if they didn't go away overnight, but they definitely started reducing in intensity. And every time it started showing up, I realized that I just asked the question, wait, is this my entity awareness sign and symptom? Right. So that was some of the first questions that I started. Interesting point of view was one of the first tools. And then as I started becoming less fearful of entities, I started getting in question like, is this because of entities? Like, is this because I'm aware of entities? Is this entities? Every time I got an allergic reaction or something with my skin showed up, I just turned my attention and I started using those basic tools of entity clearing that I learned in my foundation class. And it started lightening up, it became easier. And also, it also became something. So imagine, so something that I was resisting for so long now was actually right there, right? So, and because I had the tools, I could navigate it easier than before. So, but I knew I had to go deeper, right? So, because I'd used so much energy against myself, against my knowing of entities, that I knew from there on I had to go a little further. And I remember attending my first Talk to the Entities beginning class, and that's when that's when my whole reality fully started shifting. That's when I mean, if you saw me back then and now you see me, I'm like a whole different person. And it is due to access classes and the talk to the entities classes, because I use so much energy against my awareness of entities. So as I moved forward in the journey of attending these classes and finally becoming a facilitator, um, some of the things that I've realized and that may help you out there is talk to the entities is didn't give me a new ability. What do I mean by that? I always was aware of entities. So would you be out there? However, what Talk to the Entities gave me was a conscious education and tools and ways where I didn't have to be in fear or reaction to it, but I could start relaxing in my awareness so that all of the blind spots that I had created in my spectrum of awareness started melting away, and so that more of life started becoming available to me. I hope that makes sense, right? So because if you are aware of something and if you use so much energy against it, you're literally putting these blind spots up in your awareness, in your spectrum of awareness, and you're pretty much, you don't have access to that much living. So as I started saying yes to this, as I started allowing myself to relax into my awareness and not making it wrong and using these tools, I realized that I've always been talking to entities. Except I didn't know that I was talking to entities. I thought I was talking to myself, or uh, do you realize that like a lot of the conversations that like I really thought I was talking to myself. A. Then I thought I was just like making scenarios up uh, in my head, that I could just hear things. I was just crazy. And most of it was just this jumbled, unconscious, uh, not very clear communication, but the communication was always happening. I was always talking to entities. So, what TTTE gave me was clarity, a way to organize all of this stuff that I was aware of, TTT and Shannon, a way to organize all of these different things that I was aware of, a way to not resist something that is a very natural ability for a lot of us humanoids out there, and to not create blind spots in my spectrum of awareness. So, what has happened over time, therefore, is so much more has started becoming available to me because I just said yes to an ability that I have instead of resisting it. My life, living, money flows, relationships, the adventures that I get to have because of saying yes to TTT are beyond something I could have ever imagined. Like, I am a dentist by education. So if 10 years back or even more, you told me that I'd be a talk to the entities facilitator, or, I'll be doing like a talk to the entities class, I'd be like, are you crazy? Um, Oh, but I'm so glad I made that choice, right? Because I can see myself 10 years down and it's such a different world. So that's the first thing. It's not that TTT is going to give you a new ability, it's actually going to give you more choice, more space, more ease with something that you're mostly already doing, but you don't know that you're already doing it. You know it, but you don't cognitively know it. Right? Second thing, the second point of view I had before I even said yes to talk to the entities, I remember telling this to my facilitator. You know what? If I say yes to talk to the like, if I say yes to this, then that's all I'll be doing. That's all I'll be doing, 24/7. Like I felt that my world would be more crowded with entities if I said yes to it. Now, little did I know the exact opposite has happened. Because you have to know that you're already aware of entities. It's not like you're not. It's not. So for me, over time of using these tools, there is actually now more space in my world and my reality than there was before. So if you think you're going to say yes to this and you're going to bring all sorts of shit like in your life back, well, it's that may just be an interesting point of view. Okay, that is not real. And from my experience, I can tell you that's not true, because what it has done is it has actually given me more space. It has actually given me more choice with my awareness, right? So where I'm not at the effect of my awareness of entities, but I can be the source that affects all of it. And I continue to like go deeper in it, and the deeper and deeper I go, the greater and greater my life in living gets. So if you are one of them out there who's been aware of entities, well, you are aware of entities, so acknowledge it. It's not a lie, neither is it crazy, or it is actually what it is. Now, then I would suggest look for things that would actually look at it that way. Okay. So, some of the things that I attended before Talk to the Entities was looking at this awareness as an inherent wrongness, right? So, the way they dealt with everything to do with entities was there's something wrong here that you know them, that you're attracting the negative shit in your world. So that was the basic point of view that something's wrong with you. So if you're aware of entities and you're looking for ways to make it easier for you, my suggestion would be don't go where it's already been made wrong and you have to get it fixed for yourself. Look for things that actually acknowledge it as the gift it is, because now you won't go down a path of lies, which is you're wrong, but you'll actually go uh, towards a path that opens up your reality in ways you can't even imagine. Because the amount of energy we use against our awareness is, uh, I there's just that much that I can put into words. It's just so much energy that you're using against yourself to avoid your awareness. And having said that, the electricity where I am has gone, but we will still continue. As if something is breathing over you. Yes, Devrati. Yeah, I think you're talking about something that I spoke. Yeah, but know that please don't make any of it significant. That's what I did till then. It was something outside of me. So when I had those paralysis attack, as if something's breathing over you, blah blah blah, my basic points. Why did interesting point of view help me? Because some of my basic points of views were that all entities are bad, that this entity in fact has more power over me than I do. Okay. And then there was just a lot of confusion, just a lot of not knowing what I'm dealing with. So there was a lot of reaction, a lot of points of views that I bought into. So when I started doing interesting point of view, and this is not an exaggeration, this is actually what I did interesting point of view for 10 minutes in my half sleep space. And that energy of something breathing over me and taking over me shifted. Okay. So your point of view creates your reality, including the way your reality shows up with the spirit world. So would you, and with spirit awareness, there's always been a lot of drama, a lot of trauma, a lot of superstition in the cultures we've grown up in, where, well, that is one way of dealing with it. And if it works for you, great. But if it doesn't, and you like something that can bring in more ease, joy, space, and remove the significance out of it and give you the space of possibility with it, Talk to the Entities did that for me. So you can choose that and let it contribute to you in ways that you can't even imagine right now. So if you are out there and you've been considering attending a Talk to the Entities class, be it an introduction class, be it a beginning class, or be it some like, or be it an advanced class that you've already done classes before and you're not sure, the question I would ask is, if I choose this, what would my life be like in the next 5 years? And I like to go beyond 5 years. So I actually like to even ask, what would my life be like in the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years? So if I choose this, what would your life be like in the next 10 years? And if you don't choose this, what would your life be like in the next 10 years? And the one that is light and expansive is what I have been following. Okay, so what if you followed that? Because what is light for you is true for you, and what is heavy for you is a lie for you. So, how many entities have you been aware of? And would you like to have more ease? Because in my case also, what I noticed that it also not just physical things, it also started showing up as mood swings, like intense mood swings, wherein I would be happy during the day, and by evening I would just be like, I could sense like this sadness. And then I would wonder what it is, and I would do my best to like deal with it. And the only way I found my way of dealing with it was to shut it out, and to like, I had to do something. I had to go out. I had to go out. I had like, I that was my thing. I had to go out. I had to step out. I have to. Like, it was almost an it was a way to deal with all of this awareness. And we have our own different ways of dealing with awareness that you don't necessarily have the tools right now to deal with, right? So again, if you are one of them who's been aware of entities all their lives, and you'd like some more ease and joy and space with it, look at the tools of Talk to the Entities. Look at everything that's available, even on the Instagram page and the YouTube channel. There are so many videos. There are so many things available for you to start you off on this journey. It doesn't. There's actually a 12-hour long video from the Talk to the Entities massive Talk to the Entities clearing for massive change, entity clearing for massive change, sorry. Entity clearing for massive change that we did in March, where all these facilitators from different parts of the world, in their different languages, for 15 hours straight, came in and cleared and cleared and cleared and cleared a whole bunch of entities. I think we changed the whole world with that. And now we've got like a full video of 12 hours just with all the different clearings, with all the different facilitators. And it's right there on the YouTube channel, right? So, again, what gift can Talk to the Entities be for you? What if everything you've been aware of was just that? You're just aware of it. What if you're not wrong for being aware of it? What if it wasn't something you're attracting? What if it's not something that you did something wrong in some other lifetime, and therefore this is happening to you, that there are ghosts talking to you? What if all of that was a lie? Okay. So what strength can talking to entities give you that you've been shutting yourself from having? And what else is possible? So that's my little journey, a quick little journey on my journey on Talk to the Entities, and I hope it helped. I hope it contributed. Just become aware of your. Just know that you're not wrong, yeah, and start using all these little tools and tips, and hopefully, we'll see you somewhere. Thank you so much. Bye bye.